Hello, everyone. This is Abdul Kish, a postdoctoral at Department of Fish and Wildlife Conservation at Virginia Tech. I'll be talking about distributional ecology of zoonotic diseases. So will you gain from this lecture is understanding the zoonotic diseases with different disease systems and understanding the meaning of distributional ecology. So what's a zoonotic disease? It's that disease can be passed from animals to humans. And for examples, a lot of familiar diseases here, like the Lyme disease, anthrax, leishmania, plague, a lot of familiar diseases here. And those diseases have a different systems. So with the simplest system, for example, anthrax here involves a single host species, such as a human or cattle. And as you see here, the anthrax, the bacteria can be uh, transmitted by a fly, biting fly, or simply from the soil as a spores to the human and the cattle, or eating contamination or contaminated meat. In more complex cases, we have a plague transmission. As you see here in the down bottom, you can see the life cycle of the flea, and then the flea goes to find a host. In this case, it's called enzootic cycle, which is very simple. To taking a blood meal from the rodent and then infected a human. Another scenario which is more complex is epizootic cycle, which is like multiple mammals involved in this cycle and then goes to the human. So it's kind of more complex than the one host system. Here we have multiple animals in the a plague transmission. What's the distributional ecology? So this is refers to the study of geographic patterns and ecological factors that influence the occurrence and spread of diseases that can be transmitted between animals and humans. So to understand this concept, we have to examining various aspects, including, for example, the first point is host species, where the zoonotic diseases can involve a wide range of host species, including mammals, birds, reptiles, and insects. And studying the distribution and abundance of different host species helps identify potential sources and reservoirs of zoonotic pathogens. And we have this slide explaining everything. And the second point, which is ecological factors, where the environmental factors such as climate, vegetation, land use, and habitat fragmentation can play a crucial role in the distribution and transmission of zoonotic diseases. For example, certain diseases may be more relevant in areas with a specific climate condition, and that favor the survival and reproduction of disease carrying a vector or reservoir hosts. And here in this example, on the environmental dimension. So for example, here we have a precipitation on y-axis and x-axis temperature. So here the big circle, the black one here, represents the conditions, the suitable conditions for this species or a species example. And this is for the environmental space. For the geographic space, this one represents this area, which is in the Northern Europe. But in red area, that means those areas are similar to this white area, but the species couldn't be there because of the barrier here, like mountains, makes the movement of the species difficult to get to those areas. This is another example with a tick species and a mouse. And as you see here, they share environmental condition. And this is on the environmental space. When we put this on the geographic space, we can see where are the interaction between, or where they share the same environmental conditions here in Northern Europe and very small area in Western Europe. If we increase that to include multiple animals, and we can see how they share some environmental conditions, and then here with the bird and tick a little bit, and when we put it on the geographic space, it's clear that they just share some environmental conditions. Also notice in the bottom example, we have a tick species, which is this one that has just these environmental conditions here. But on the environmental space, we can see how they are very, very similar with other species on the environmental space. So what I'm trying to say is on the environmental space, we see how they share the environmental space, but when transferred to the geographic space, we can see those areas are similar or they have the same environmental conditions. So the species maybe didn't arrive or couldn't go to that area because of mountains or ocean or some barriers. The third point is geographic distribution. So in this example, mapping the spatial distribution of zoonotic disease helps identify areas where particular diseases are more common. And this information is crucial for implementing targeted surveillance, prevention, and control strategies. And as you see here, so for the anthrax species, where the blue crosses are the pathogen or the presence of the pathogen, and this is on the geographic space. And in this paper by Daniel Jimenez, they modeled the suitable area or the suitability area for those two anthrax species. And where you see the red color it's the high suitability of the places where species could be survive and maintain population. Disease dynamics. So in this case, the study of disease dynamics involves investigating the patterns of transmission and spread of zoonotic diseases within and between host populations. This includes understanding factors that influence disease transmission, such as contact rates between hosts, host immunity, and the role of vectors in disease transmission. And in this paper, they examined a population of within the host of deer and between the hosts, and also host population and the host metapopulation. So a take-home message from this lecture is the distributional ecology of zoonotic disease involves understanding the geographic range of relevant hosts, vectors, and pathogens, as well as the ecological factors that contribute to disease transmission and emergence. By studying all of these factors, we can get insights into spatial patterns and risk factors associated with zoonotic diseases. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please send me an email. Thank you.